price of the car you drive around. It's not about your class or how big is your ass. Would you have anything left if somebody cleaned you out? I'm talking about how the we get so cold. Cause you know that you ain't taking anything from this world. And all this money making, trust me, it won't save your soul. You need to let it go. Hey man, just let it go. It's all about freedom, courage, living life your way. If you believe it, then find a way to reach it. Don't let the time that you have go to waste. It's all about freedom, courage. With every step you take, put your hands up to the sky and spread some love tonight. Don't let no bad vibe pull you down today. Hey, hey.
What up, Vigilantes? I'm here with the one and only Max Igan. Max, thank you for being with us, and thank you for inviting us and having this beautiful place that you created here in Bonfil Beach. Now, it's going to be known as Bitcoin Beach in Bonfil. How are you doing, Max?
I'm doing really well, brother. Thanks for asking me on for a chat. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so you know, maybe I don't know if anyone has asked you this, but I really want to get to know you in terms of like what made you speak up. Why did you? Everyone knows there's problems in the world, but you really approach this from a very philosophical perspective. Like, what inspired you to speak up for freedom, for liberty?
Well, it just needed to be done. There's a lot of people bringing the information to people, but they're kind of tending to do it from a really fearful perspective. I mean, sure, we've got a lot to be concerned about. There's a lot going on that needs attention, a lot to be concerned about. But concern brings positive action. Fear, people tend to go into flight or fright mode and they kind of freeze in a state of fear. And what I see with everything that's happening, I mean, sure, it's pretty dystopian, but it's a huge opportunity for freedom. It's a huge opportunity for people to realise that they don't have any rulers. No one has authority over them except the authority they give them. And it's a great opportunity for people to remember who and what they are, and to seize this moment and reclaim the world. And I think we can do it if people can just get that right perspective and shake the fear out of their mind. You know, when you're concerned at a problem, there's a problem, I'm concerned about it, which means I need to act to remedy the problem. People just go into fear and, oh my God, I've got to run and hide from what the government's doing. I see it from a different perspective, and I thought it was important to bring that perspective to the so-called truth movement. Yeah, so that's why I do it. Just because it needs to be done, brother. People need to have some sort of inspiration rather than just being horrified by what's happening. See it as an opportunity to remedy the situation. Yeah.
So what is the source of this fear, and how would you, I know this is a big question, how in a nutshell can people ease their mind when faced with an uncertain future?
Well, realise that they have the power. The only reason anybody has any power over them is because they give it away. Stop giving it away. Take it as a moment where you can seize this moment, reclaim your life, reclaim this earth, reclaim the world for what it is. It just needs to be done. I mean, we've got to a point of virtually spiritual bankruptcy where something like this had to happen. Like, generally speaking, look at the human race. We've really lost the plot. We've really gone in the wrong direction. So how far are we going to continue to do that before we take the matter in hand ourselves and see it as an opportunity to remedy the situation? I mean, you can't be terrified of what's happening. You've got to reclaim yourself, reclaim your life. Like I often said during the Occupy Wall Street movement, I went to see them and said, what's your goal? They said, we don't know. We just don't like things the way they are. We want it to change. And I was saying to them, well, you don't need to occupy Wall Street for that. We already occupy the entire earth, but we don't occupy ourselves. People have forgotten who and what they are. And I see this as an opportunity to remember. And that's all I ever try to do, is to help people remember what you are. No, why would you ever think you have rulers? Why would you think just because someone wrote something down on paper you actually have to do that? You know, there's only one law, and that's do no harm. All the legislation they present to you that is the colour of law does harm. So how is it actually law? You know what I'm saying? It's really simple when you look at it through the right sort of eyes and look at it from the right perspective. Okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to stand strong and become human again and say, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to take the world in a different direction now. And all you people that are claiming to be leaders, the world is in the state it's in because of what you've done. You know, every problem that exists in the world today has been legislated to exist. And all the remedy, we try to find a remedy to these problems. We go into the system to try to find a remedy from within the system, and we're tied up in red tape, which has all been legislated to exist. I think I see a solution here. Get rid of that, realize that these law books are simply grimoires, they're spell books. You know, it's a spell, it's magic, it's mind control. We have an opportunity to shake off these chains. And I see it as a huge opportunity, a hugely beneficial time to be alive. I don't see anything to fear at all. I see we've got a lot to be concerned about, but because we're concerned, it means we can remedy the problem. There's no fear in that. Most people's fear is in fear of expressing themselves, fear of being themselves, because they've never really grown up. You know, they've grown up and they've had parents their whole life. They leave their parents, they go to school, the school becomes their parents, they leave school, the government becomes their parents. It's time we grew up, brother, and this is an opportunity to do that.
So, in a world where people forgot who they are, and in a world where people did not grow up into that personal sovereignty, what are some key ways maybe that we can help them remember?
Well, we've got to inspire them. When you bring information to people, do it in an inspiring way. Inspire them with your own life. You know, inspire them by what you do and who you are and what sort of person you are. Be the best person you can possibly be. A question I always encourage people to ask is, are you the type of friend that you would want to have as a friend? Think about that one. It's a really deep question. But by being that person and by leading by example in everything you do in your life, being just a great guy to be around, helping everybody you can. Not to the point that people are taking from you or depleting yourself, but just be a great guy, be a strong pillar of the community. You'll inspire others to do the same. And if the government says jump, don't ask how high, ask why do I have to jump, and who are you to tell me to jump to begin with? Because you're the ones who created all the problems. And call them out for what they are. Why would you think that these guys, just because they've got expensive suits on and they put rubber stamps on pieces of paper, that they actually have authority? It's an opportunity to shake off the chains, brother. And there were not enough people were bringing this message. Everyone was just fear, fear, fear. Oh my God, look what's happening. We've got to run home and lock the door and buy guns. No, we don't. We just got to get on with our lives. And don't ask permission. Can I please get on with my life now? No, just get on with your life, you know, and be the best that you can be in all that you do. That's how you bring about change. You know, everyone wants change, but they don't want to change. That's the problem. They just want to think, oh, Max has done it. We'll hold his coat, and he'll send us the newsletter telling us it's safe to go outside now. You know, it's not like that. We can all do this, and this is one of the greatest times in history to be alive. It really is. This is a pivotal moment for humanity. This is the time we became free. We're just in the process of doing that.
You know, that's very beautiful because, you know, I think what you're saying really comes down to like the self, right? That like freedom and autonomy starts with the self. And a lot of people, when they are oppressed with these deep questions of like, are you the friend that you would want others to have? Are you the friend that you would want to have for yourself? A lot of people are ridden with shame and guilt for anything that they've done in the past. And that keeps them from, like that leads them to have this cognitive dissonance. Like, you know, for example, I can think of someone who maybe, you know, was a mercenary for some country and did some things that they feel ashamed about. You know, what words of peace could you extend to them? Because, you know, a lot of brothers and sisters out there, you know, they were indoctrinated into joining these militias to fight for power-hungry people, and I'm just giving this as an example, and, you know, they come back with shell shock, and, for example, and how can they move on in healing beyond this shame and guilt that they may feel?
Most people in situations that have done bad things have done so because they've been coerced to do it, or they've done so because they believe they're in a state of scarcity. Most of the scarcity in the world is artificial, it's contrived. We live in a world of abundance, but we're kept in an artificial state of scarcity, and so people commit petty crimes and do things against each other in order to get ahead because they're measuring themselves by yardsticks that are given to them by society to measure themselves by. You know, I don't have the right clothes or the right jewelry, I don't have a big enough front door or whatever. So they do these things that they think will elevate them to something which is fictional. It's a fiction. We're striving to reach this pillar of something, but it's a fiction. You know, all you're here to do is to be the best that you can be. And sometimes enlightenment is a destructive process. Enlightenment is a breaking down of everything you thought to be real, everything you thought to be true. That's what true enlightenment is. It's a bringing light to a situation is to bring information to a situation. Once you've got the right information, you see the world for what it is. You realize that you can change it in a second. You can change your perspective and change your actions in a second. And in that moment, it doesn't matter what you did. It matters what you do from this point forward. Whatever you did has usually been because society has led you to do that. Like I said, most crime within society is based on scarcity. People ripping each other off, stealing from each other, unless they're crimes of passion. Most of it is contrived by the system, and it's because people are measuring themselves according to parameters which are not their own. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you did. There's some of the worst mass murderers that have turned the tables and become the best preachers the world's ever seen. You know, it doesn't matter what you did, any of that stuff. It all led you to this point. And this point is where you see it clearly. So what matters is what you do from that point. That's the most important thing. Everybody can change. You've just got to be aware of what it is, what you're doing, and what you are. That's what I've tried to encourage in people, is to remember who and what they are. Once you remember it, it doesn't matter. All that stuff falls away. Your past doesn't matter. Don't judge you by your past. We're in a pivotal moment of humanity, and everybody can stand for what is right if they just put themselves in the right perspective. So just do the right thing from this point forward. Your life starts right now, and you can go forward from here. It doesn't matter about all that other shit. It's all that what brought you to this point of enlightenment. So isn't that good? Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff that happened to me when I had a terrible childhood. I had all sorts of bad shit go on in my life. But it all brought me to who I am now, and I'm pretty happy with who I am now. So all that stuff was necessary. All the things that happened to me when I was a kid, all those bad things, the break up with my wife, losing all my possessions, living in a homeless shelter, all the stuff that I did, I look back at that and I honor all of that, because it gave me the perspective I've got now, which enabled me to do what I do and have the message that I've got. So I bless it all. I'm thankful for all of it. That's the way you've got to look at it.
Right on. Thank you so much, Max, for saying that. On the topic of abundance, we have, Jesus once says you can't put new wine in old wineskins, otherwise the old wineskins will burst from holding the new wine. So new wine needs new wineskins. When we are now dealing with the world of crypto, it requires that we embrace it with a new mind, a new perspective, and a perspective of abundance. And it seems to me that all of the problems that we've had in the crypto space come from people trying to put crypto and Bitcoin within the old wineskins of legacy banking. I know that eventually these banksters will acquiesce to the reality that Bitcoin and crypto is here, and it's changed the game. But they're still clawing for power, and they're still trying to infuse the crypto world with a scarcity mindset. So what message, what advice, what message could you give the crypto world in light of how they must have a mindset of abundance when embracing these new technologies?
Well, crypto is an interesting thing. Like, I'm not a crypto person per se. I've got a wallet. People give it to me. I spend some of it with people that I know. I mean, I'm not anyone to advise anybody on cryptocurrency. I've got this whole thing about the whole digital system. Something I said to the crypto people back in 2017 was, it's great what you're doing, but the government's going to build this umbrella over the top of control, which they're calling social crediting. I was warning people about the social credit system way back in 2017. We've got to basically, I mean, you could use crypto now. People, hang on, I'm getting weird here, but a lot of people with the crypto space, they see it as like an investment, and it's not. It's an alternate currency. What the crypto guys have done is it's a great idea to free yourself from the fiat system and trade with this stuff between each other. But people get it, they hang on to it, they think it's like gold, it's going to go up in value, and they see it as an investment. That is how it's been infiltrated. That is the mindset that they put into people, so that they're kind of scared. They're watching the price go up and down. Is it something I can invest in? Am I going to lose my money? All this sort of shit. No, just trade. The more you trade with it, the more it maintains its value. It's when you grab it and you hold it and you sit it in a wallet and you just wait for it to go up and down and watch it. That's when it all drops, because no one's actually using it.
Yes.
But if people actually start using it, it could free you from that entire fiat system which is being used to enslave the world. It's a great thing, but again, it depends on having access to the internet and all that sort of stuff. So you've got to start using it now and free yourself from that system now before they bring all this social crediting and digital ID and CDCB or whatever it is, this digital cash and all this crap they want to do, because they're trying to co-opt it and lead it into what the government wants with their new digital cash and smart dollars and all this crap they're doing. So it's being kind of infiltrated that way because people have got this mindset of what money is. They think it's this, like I said, pile of gold that you're using to invest in. Cryptocurrency was never meant as something to invest in. It's just like, I think that's why they drove it up and it went to like from $3 up to 60,000, so people would see it as something to invest in and blah, blah, blah. But that really happened because so many people were using it. That's why the price went so high, because people were actually trading with it. When they saw that, people said, oh shit, I'll buy it and my price is going to go up or down, and they're just looking at it, So they've got to get out of that mindset and not see it as an investment, see it as an alternate to the slavery system that is now being run. But because, like I said, they're bringing in all this social crediting and all this stuff as well, so you've got a short window. Because if they manage to bring that social crediting umbrella over the top, then it's going to be curtains for the whole digital world. That's something people aren't paying attention to. This soon they want to bring in like digital IDs. Soon you're going to need a digital ID to log online. How are you even going to get online to get your crypto if you haven't got your digital ID? How are you going to spend it? That's the way they want to do it. In Argentina now, they brought in, you've got to have biometric scanning in order to activate a SIM card on a phone.
Wow, I did not know that.
Oh yeah, this is how it's going, brother. Wow. So people have got to understand what the crypto space is all about and take advantage of it quickly before it's overtaken by this social crediting umbrella and this biometric digital ID. Because soon, it won't matter how much crypto you've got, if you can't get online to spend it, how are you going to use it? You know what I mean? We've got to really pay attention to what's going on here, brother. And I said back in 2017, they're going to let you guys build this crypto space, but don't think they're not looking at it. The world is run by criminals, it's run by parasites, and we are trying to transition it into a better world. But if those parasites are still in control, they're going to be in control of what that transition is, and they're going to co-opt it, and they're going to lead it where they want it to go. We've got to pay attention to this. So, crypto is a double-edged sword at the moment. Like I said, I'm not a crypto person. I haven't looked at it from the perspective that you guys have. I mean, I went to some of the Anarchapulco meetings, and I was hearing the crypto guys, they're basically talking about how we're going to be living in a world like the Jetsons in another 20 years, and I'm going, hang on, guys. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. If you haven't factored in that the world is run by criminals, and you're not going to account for that, then you've already lost. You've got to factor that into every equation you're making. These criminals need to be exposed, they need to be removed from power. If they can be removed from power through the transitional period, then crypto's a winner. But if they're not, well, if we just let them do what they want to do, then it's a double-edged sword. So you've really got to be honest when you're looking at this, and you've really got to look at it from all perspectives to see where we'd like it to go and where it can go if we don't get in control of that space through the transition. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I completely agree with what you're saying. I think that we really need to make sure hyperbitcoinization, that good cryptocurrency takes off and really takes over as like the main unit of account used throughout the world.
Well, I accept crypto in the bar here. I accept crypto in the bar. I'm quite happy to trade in this, which will keep the price going and get people encouraged to use it. And you're trying to approach all the restaurants here, talking about using Bitcoin and crypto, this could be a really good thing. But like I said, we've got to make sure we're in control of the space through the transition. And these criminals that are in control of the world right now need to be held to account. They need to be named for what they do. You can't offer any respect to these people. Don't grant them any authority over you. Realize that they are the ones that have brought the world to what it is now. And this is an opportunity for us to take it back and get rid of their money system, use our own, and do things in the right way. We've got to really look at it with clear eyes through this.
One of the things that I've always kind of focus on is that a lot of a parasite in crypto will talk to you about crypto, will sell you crypto, but they will never create or build on the actual technology itself. Does that make sense? So, for example, think of FTX, or any exchange. They're really banks that use crypto as a new investment vehicle that they're playing with. But in reality, all along, we've always had the ability to have exchanges on chain, so that we can verify reserves in every block of time. So, I did a workshop during Anarchapulco where we talked about these topics itself. Link in the description below, where we talk about onboarding with zero sats, meaning we solve the onboarding problem where people can literally start using crypto now for free and start creating on the chain for free. And we also figured out how to outcompete AI, and that's something I want to talk to you about, because AI to me is nothing more than the creation of more machines that create more noise. They want to drown us in noise of fake news, deep fakes, more noise, loud, just crazy loud noise to manipulate us.
Kill the noise.
And so what we realize is that as we have these events here, these are signals where the smartest of people gather and share ideas. This is an honest signal. It's a costly one because we're exposing ourselves talking, but it's a signal that stands out amongst the noise of the internet. You've been a strong signal yourself on the internet, so much so that you've gotten censored. Maybe you can speak to us about what it has been like to be a voice that has been censored, that has gone through that transition of having to deal with this, because we're about to move into a world where there's going to be more noise, more confusion, more manipulation, and where all of this AI technology like ChatGPT is aiming to further drown out voices like yours.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been censored everywhere. I'm banned from so many platforms, like it's ridiculous. Like all the main platforms I'm banned from, even LinkedIn, SoundCloud, iHeart, iTunes, all that stuff. I'm banned from all of them.
Wow.
Banned from YouTube, banned from Facebook.
Well, what are you saying that's so dangerous? What's going on here?
Well, I'm talking about freedom, and I'm talking about self-empowerment. I'm talking about the fact that you can't blame everybody else while you're still using the smart tech, while you're still using the tools of your enslavement. Like the smart grid is the single most thing to be feared, or the single most thing to be concerned about at the moment, is this smart technology. You know, so I talk about this. I talk about the fact that, you know, you are the change. You should be the change. You can change the world yourself. Like I said, you don't need to occupy Wall Street. You just need to occupy yourself. Don't ask permission to get on with your life. They don't want people hearing about that. They want people asking, you know, who's the savior? Who's going to send me the newsletter? Who can I follow? What movement can I join? What rally can I go and join into that's going to change the world? You can change the world right from where you live, just by changing your perspective of how you interact with people. How you view the world, how you view yourself, how you view others, by being the best friend you can be to people, by inspiring people around you, just by being a great person. Yeah, that's a dangerous message, I guess. Yeah, we can't trust government, we can't trust politicians, and like I was sort of setting this out and putting this out to the world, just try to inspire people to be all they could be. I mean, what I've mainly tried to do with my radio shows, like I said before, is help people remember who and what they are. I think that's very dangerous. That's the most dangerous thing for them. You know, they want you involved in movements. They want you involved in rallies. They want you involved in, you know, things where you're trying to vote new people in or vote people out or start your own political party or whatever. The thing they don't want you doing is unifying your focus on freedom. And because all the people out there dealing with all these different problems, which are all symptoms of the one problem, which is the political corruption that's controlling our world, whoever you want to look at, whoever's behind it, whatever, the interface that we see is the politics. I mean, they write the legislation down, they tell you to jump and people say how high. And they walk between the lines because the lines are legislated to exist. So that's our interface. Once we break that system down, it all goes away. So I'm pointing that out to them. And that's very dangerous. They don't want that. They don't want people to have a unity of focus. Whatever symptom that you're dealing with, whether it's the whaling issue, whether it's some particular rights, you know, whatever thing you're focused on. Ultimately, the focus is freedom. if the focus should be freedom, if we have a unity of focus on freedom. So it doesn't matter, different groups don't need to argue with each other over whatever their important issue is, and my issue is more important than yours. The reason the issue exists to begin with is because we're not free. All of these things are symptoms of the one problem, but people are always hacking at the branches of the tree. They're not ever striking at the root. There's so few people doing that, and I've been pointing out what the root of the tree is. You know, so that's what I think is dangerous to them, and that's why I've been censored everywhere. And it just inspires me. The more censored I get, the more viral I go. It's crazy. Like they censored me on YouTube. I had 250,000 subscribers. I had over 26 million video views, and then they just cut me off. And I got channels that have got like 3 million subscribers and stuff, who suddenly started taking little 10-minute bits of my videos and making little really concise pieces. Like they get an hour-long radio show and they'll edit it down to 10 minutes and get the most profound things out of it, and then they'll publish it. And they contacted me, some of these guys, and said, it's a real shame to see you removed from YouTube, but the thing is, the truth is like a spring. You can't cover up the source of a spring. When you do, all that happens is it pops up 100 areas around the hill, and that's what's happening with your work. So my work has gone more viral since they censored me than it was before. So they kind of shoot themselves in the foot with all this, and I just continue on doing what I do. I don't have any agenda. I don't have any subscriber section. I never monetized any of my accounts. There's nothing for sale on my website. I've never done any commerce. I've never tried to sell any books. I've never tried to sell anything. I've just spoken from my heart and told the truth the way I see it, and I've tried to inspire people to be all they can be and remember who and what they are. And that's what they fear the most, because as soon as people do that, we can change the world in a day. We can literally change it in a day. If people just change their perspective and go, oh my God, I actually have value. I have value as a human being.
I'm a human being, God damn it! My life has value!
I'm not a lesser person because the government says I am. I don't have to walk between these lines because some guy in a suit says I have to. I don't have to do any of that shit. I'm a valuable person simply by the mind that I have. And this is something that I also say, every good thing that's ever happened in the world and every bad thing that ever happened in the world, if it was done by human hands, then ultimately it came from the spark of an idea in the mind of a single individual. Everybody has the potential to have that idea that could change the world. Don't sell yourself short.
Right on, Max. So look, not everyone watching this is familiar with your work or even with the philosophy of freedom, anarchy. And the immediate gut wrench reaction that they're having listening to you is like, but we need government. We need government in order to have order. If not, we will go back to the law of the jungle where might means right and there's going to be vandals taking over. What do you say to that?
Well, you know, if someone said, is there a switch you can flick that would end all governments and turn us into an anarchistic society, would you flick that switch? No, I wouldn't. Because at the moment, we need some sort of a transitional space. Unfortunately, at the moment, anarchy, self-governance is the way to go. But people are emotionally and honestly kind of intellectually immature at the moment because they've been trained to be that way. So we need some sort of a transitional period. You know, we need to kind of infiltrate the government and change the education system and re-educate people back to a point where they're capable of self-governance. Because at the moment they're not. You know, that would ultimately be the ultimate society of self-governance. But we need that transitional period, which is why you've got to inspire people. I mean, doing what you guys are doing what I'm doing here, just getting all these people together and inspiring them to be all that they can be and be people of integrity. That's how you change the world, but it's a transitional point. A lot of people out there are just plain stupid because they've been educated to be stupid. They're kept in a state of complete scarcity, dog eat dog. They're fighting over all these issues, race, creed, class, whatever, that they've been programmed into fighting about. So we need some sort of a transitional period, but I think we're kind of in that transitional period now, where government is becoming more and more irrelevant, you know, as the days go on, as crypto rises, as everything rises. Like, it's happening now, but it's a process. I mean, it's taken a couple of 100 years to bring us to this point of dystopia. So it's a process to bring us back to a point of self-governance. You know what I'm saying? So I think we can do it, but it's going to be a painful transition. I mean, there's a way through it, but yeah, we do need something. We need a group of elders or something to offer people advice, because people aren't really capable of thinking for themselves, unfortunately. I mean, a lot are, but a lot aren't. You've got to be realistic about it. You know, if government was to simply evaporate at the moment, it would be a dog-eat-dog society. So we need some sort of a transitional period, you know. But by the same token, I think these guys that are in power at the moment need to be completely removed from power. They're all criminals, a lot of them. I mean, realistically, they should all be dragged out of government buildings and hung in the streets for what they've done over the last few years. But, you know, what are you going to do? You don't want to have bad people and cartels and you know, gangs getting control, which is what would happen. Because people are living in cities, they live in a state of scarcity. They're all truckitarians. Like, everybody lives off the food trucks. Doesn't matter whether you're a vegetarian or a vegan or a meat eater or whatever, you're a truckitarian. If you don't hunt and grow your own food, yes, right, you're a truckitarian. So that's a problem. That's a problem. And it's a process to get back to that point. See, everything that they've done is to remove us of our life skills, remove us of our ability to look after ourselves. We used to know how to go and build a cabin, farm our own food or whatever. Now they train you to be a good mechanic or a good plumber so you learn one thing. You only learn one thing. And the saying used to be, it's better to be a jack of all trades than a master of one. Now they say, a jack of all trades, master of none. They kind of change things around a little bit. You should be a jack of all trades. You should know how to do everything. Back in the old days, I used to have a book, which was a book of recipes, it was called. It was actually a book of receipts. And a receipt was, you wanted a fence built, I'd go and build your fence for you, and then I'd show you how to build it, so you had that skill, and in return, you'd show me how to make a wagon wheel, or you'd show me how to cook a certain type of bread, or make a glue out of a tree or something. So we used to gather these skills, and I had this book of receipts, which was life skills, all life skills. But now it's all conveniences, packet food, power tools, all this sort of stuff. Every time you get a convenience, you lose another life skill.
What is that?
That's a washing machine.
What does it wash?
Clothes.
Can you imagine?
An electric motor spins the cylinder as water is pumped through the machine. Soap is added here, and the agitation removes any soiling.
What does that wash?
That's a refrigerator. The top compartment keeps food frozen, and the bottom compartment maintains a temperature of 38 degrees.
And you sell these?
We rent them.
So you sell electricity, and then you rent all the things that need electricity?
More or less.
We don't need any of these things.
Well, the conveniences. Their use gives you time to do other things.
What other things?
Well, like other chores.
So you invent machines to do those, then what do we do?
Go on a picnic. Go for a swim. Go to the cinema. You can enjoy a more leisurely life.
It ain't more leisurely, because we gotta work more to pay for all this stuff. He's got you there.
This is the future. Every home in New York City has electricity. They have refrigerators, and some even have electric stoves.
Now here's the thing. We buy all this stuff, we're not working for ourselves anymore, we're working for you.
That's what it's all about. Then all they got to do is shut down the power, shut down the society, and no one knows how to do nothing. You know, that's the danger of just becoming straight into a society of anarchists. You've got to have an educational period where people are re-educated back to the point that they are capable of freedom. Because most people aren't right now, which is a really unfortunate thing. That's why people need to be concerned and why you need to get back in touch with your life skills. I've said to people, if you really want to survive what's coming, to the point, because they're going to take it to the point that you need biometric ID and a digital ID to even log online. What are you going to do if you don't want to do that? You've got to be able to pick up a rope and a knife and be able to walk into the forest and know how to survive. Can you do that? That's what needs to happen. Humans have got to get back in touch with what it means to be a man, what it means to be human. You've got to get back in touch with your life skills. That's how to get through what's coming. Because if this ship keeps sailing, it's just going to sail straight off the cliff and it's going to drag the whole world with it. You know, whether you want to go or not, the sleeping masses are going to drag us off that cliff. So you better get back in touch with your life skills. You know, even with all the crypto and all this stuff that you're doing, like I said, if it gets to the point, if those parasites are still in control when we go into that system, then they're going to control where that system goes. So you better be ready for that. Everybody needs to be ready for that. You've got to get back in touch with your life skills, brother. Everybody does.
So, you know, when the internet started, I had this idea of this beautiful place where we would like share life skills and grow in knowledge, wisdom of like things, you know, just grow into holistic beings in sharing. And what happened is that they turned us into these dopamine addict zombies.
By design.
By design. And now I want to invite you to we created a system using proof of work energy in order for us to communicate any content on the internet and coordinate using signaling to each other using proof of work. I'm going to teach you that, and I want your feedback on that. That's what the workshop that I did at Anarchapulco, three and a half hour workshop. At the end of Anarchapulco, after the closing ceremony, we went 3.5 hours. I taught everyone about this. So I want your feedback on that. I'll do it after this happens. So I agree with you 100% because this past year we've been working really hard to develop this system of coordination using Bitcoin energy to create a way for us to coordinate as to what's important to us so that we can communicate amongst the noise of the internet, which is only going to grow with AI, ChatGPT, OpenAI, all of this noise, more noise. To make people more addicted to what they want to make people. So right now, we're at the point where it's actually the life skills are being lost even more to the point that people are becoming their own mental faculties of reasoning, thinking, processing information, putting things through a filter in their mind, which is very important. It's just a process of reading, right? Engaging a philosophical text and really digesting line by line. People are becoming completely weak. They're losing that skill. It's scary what's happening now, where even children are being given a tablet. Here, go entertain yourself. Children don't play in the street anymore, you know? So we're losing even the little, what we thought, even our mental faculties of imagination, memory, reasoning. Like, that's all being taken away at this moment with this addiction to social media. So it's almost like we are living now surrounded by zombies. A lot of us are probably even consumed by that as well. And we kind of have to rip ourselves away from this dopamine addiction that they got people in with social media. And we need to turn to a world where we're actually communicating, coordinating amongst people that are aware of what's going on. And so, do you have any advice, anything that you can say to help us move away from this new onslaught of this assault of dopamine addiction that they're using in mapping, tracing, profiling people to then be able to manipulate them even more into becoming zombies of what they want to show you?
Well, it's hard to do. I mean, get offline for a start. Don't spend so much time online. Get back in touch with the world. You know, with this chat GTP thing that's going on as well, this is really taking this to the next level. Like, people don't have to think anymore. People can get it to write essays. They can get it to write whatever. And when you plug in and join that chat GTP, you got to use your cell phone. You got to activate it with a cell phone. So once you do that and it's got your cell phone, it's got your browsing history. It's got everything you've ever done online, way back to like 1995. Every comment you ever made on YouTube or BitChute. It's got everything you've ever done, every interaction you've ever done. So you can think of everybody that's signing up to that as being like a neural node of the new AI brain that's been created. And they're losing more and more of their skills. They're losing their ability to even be able to think or create. It'll create art for you. It'll create essays for you. It'll create anything you want. So the more you don't use something, if you don't use your legs, they get atrophied. You end up not being able to walk. If you don't use your brain, it ends up atrophied. You can't think.
If you have one bucket that holds 2 gallons and another bucket that holds 5 gallons, how many buckets do you have?
2?
Thank you.
Lord, I wonder what's got the matter.
You know, so that's what this is actually doing. So you got to get back in touch with people. Learn how to talk to people. I mean, I see kids texting each other from across the room because they're scared of real interaction. They don't know how to interact with each other in the real world. That's what this has done through this dopamine addiction and everything. So it's pretty horrendous. That's why, I mean, when you've got people being dumbed down, purposefully dumbed down by these programs, well, that's why you need this transitional period. We've got to, I mean, as great as the internet is, we've got to try to get it back to being a tool that is serving us rather than us giving everything to AI, because the AI is, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if AI is already dictating what's going on. I mean, the way we're moving into a world where you won't even really need government. Government will just be there as a figurehead. The AI will already have determined what's going to happen. It'll already have determined where the human race should be going and what it wants to do. You know, you get in below a certain amount of social credit points, there's no need for any judge or jury or anything like that. The AI already knows what your rehabilitation process should be, how long you should go into the correctional re-education centre. All you need is the police to come and pick you up and put you in there. You know, because in this society they're creating, there will only be two types of people, desirables and undesirables. That's it. There'll be no grey area. So even the people in control, even the politicians that are doing this, they're not going to be exempt from any of this. It's going to just be another human. And the humans need to react the way the AI wants them to react. Otherwise, they're going to be penalised the way the AI says they should be penalised. That's what's going on. And the more people get involved in this, like I said, they're losing more and more of their brain power, more and more of their life skills. So doing what we're doing, interacting with people, having real social experiences, going and getting in touch with the forest, going hiking, walking in nature, getting in touch with your life skills again, understanding what it means to be a human being. You're not this transgender thing that lives in a bubble and gets fed stuff on your virtual reality glasses, you know. You're a living, breathing human being, you know, a representation of God on earth. So, you know, get back in touch with that. It's important. It's really important. And those that don't, well, you know, I kind of look at this as a type of spiritual cleansing. You know, because there's a lot of really stupid people in the world. Unfortunately, there is. There's people that would never function in a world without the internet, would never function without the nanny state looking after them. And the nanny state is in the process of removing all them through the jab, through all this pandemic and everything that's happening. As much as I love people, a lot of the baggage is being removed. So at the end of this process, what's going to be left is the people who didn't take the jab, the people who can think for themselves, think and have enough nous and enough knowledge and enough strength to have got through the system and got to the other side of this nightmare that's happening. So in many ways, it's a blessing that it's happening, because we're going to come through this with a real spark of human divinity. And we're in the process of basically birthing a new type of human. It can be this transhuman 2.0 thing they want to create, but that system they're creating is going to be so anti-human and so dysfunctional, the real humankind won't even be able to function within it. So it's going to kill its own food source. So it's those who've got through to the other side, those in touch with their humanity, in touch with their life skills, that are going to come through the other side of this, and that's going to be a purified essence of human divinity. That's a good thing. You know, so I don't see anything to fear from this. I think this is one of the greatest times to be alive. It's an honor to be here through this transitional period. And we're going to come through this so cleansed and so strong. That's what I want to see. And it's just a process, and it's going to happen. So it's up to you to individually maintain your strength, maintain your focus. You will get through this. And there'll be people who come through this with you, and we're going to be in a much, much better place than what we are now.
That's amazing. It's almost like, to be honest, Max, like I want to run away from technology. I know it sounds crazy. You guys are watching this. I talk about crypto. I love nature. Nature's home for me. I can spend days in the forest by myself, no technology whatsoever, and be okay. I'm there. You know, I can say I'm there. You know, and that's, I know for me to get there was hard. You know, it's scary to be out by yourself in the bush, you know. It's scary. At night, early morning, at dark, you know. But it's something that I think everyone should experience and become accustomed to. But you know, like guys like me, and we're in this position where we are wrestling with these technologies, and we kind of have to make the best of it, because whether we like it or not, the world has to, there's two paths. Technologies are nothing more but tools, right? They could be used for good or evil. With a hammer, you can kill someone, or you can build a home, right? So it's bringing out the best in technology is really what we aim for here. And I really want to introduce you, and guys, you got to watch the workshop where I explain everything about. What we did is that we figured out a way to coordinate amongst ourselves. We discovered a new form of Bitcoin transaction where we wrap any content on the internet with Bitcoin energy so that we can signal to one another like peacocks showing off feathers. Hey, I just spent energy that I will never get back because I need you to pay attention to this. My people that pay attention to me because I'm wasting Bitcoin energy on this topic right here. I need eyeballs to the screen here right now. And it's a signal that I'm putting out as an antenna because I have the most provable form of energy that I'm wasting, Bitcoin energy itself, to signal something important here. And this is called boost proof of work. This is something that is me and my buddies created, which is open source, on-chain, interoperable. If you guys want the API, it's powco/API. Copy paste it use any type of proof of work network. Start signaling each other with Dero proof of work energy, Pirate Chain proof of work energy, Monero proof of work energy. Could you imagine if the Monero community right all of a sudden it starts pointing things on the internet? Imagine a website where they're using Monero energy to signal, hey guys, pay attention to this. I'm burning Monero energy that I'll never get back. We understand that the Monero community is pretty smart, so we would pay attention to that, right? Thus far, it's the best way that we've been able to coordinate and catch each other's attention for things that we amongst ourselves find truly important for ourselves. We've been able to start communicating with open-ended questions and open-ended answers using this methodology. And the first way of doing that, the first platform to do that is askbitcoin.com. So I'm going to show you all this, Max, when we get done talking about. But I just want to. I'm eager to share this with you because in a world where we're about to be inundated with deep fakes, fake news, noise, AI, ChatGPT, OpenAI, and in a year from now, the crazy thing is that what we think is amazing and advanced right now, this whole AI thing is gonna just grow even more. And so as long as we use technology, we need to learn how to communicate with each other in a way that cannot be faked. Raf just spent Bitcoin energy that he'll never get back. Maybe that's a signal I should pay attention to, right? Max Igan just spent Monero energy on this topic of conversation or whatever it may be. Energy that he'll never get back. He's wasting energy. Maybe we should pay attention. So it causes us to pay attention to costly signals. And what we're saying is that costly signals, the signal itself, not the content itself. It's not the content. We don't know if it's truth or not. But at least it catches my attention because there's a costly signal. And the signal itself is something that I should pay attention to. And it should be, the signal itself is honest because energy was spent behind it. Whereas with another upvoting mechanism, anyone can upvote behind Reddit as much as they want and drive our eyeballs to what they want to see and make us think that what they want us to see is what is popular and what the world wants to show us. And that's how they trick us, right? So I want to share these technologies with you because I think I really want your take on it, your honest take on it, and maybe after I show you more deeply what we've done, which is open source, so that you can give us honest feedback. I want honest feedback from you, because if I'm going down the wrong path here, I want you to tell me with your wisdom and experience, say, Raf, this I like and this I have concern about. In your walk and talk. Maybe we can have another conversation about this. I'd love to get feedback from you. Would you welcome that this interaction?
Sure, absolutely, anytime.
Okay, awesome.
Look at your workshop.
Okay, great. Yes, yeah. It should be live by the time he watches. It should be live, and it's for free. This workshop is for free. It's a workshop called on hyperbitcoinization, because hyperbitcoinization in our idea as Bitcoiners needs to happen before AI takes over. It's almost a moral imperative. We need to have the world move to a system of cooperation, a capitalist meritocracy of value that is peaceful before AI takes over, and then we're in just complete state of confusion as they make people more addicted to this dopamine of AI, right? So what advice do you have for us since we're in this journey and where you see us? You know, you see me, you see the crypto world. We're, you know, a lot of guys like me are very enthusiastic about what we're doing, where we're going. So what advice would you have for us with the challenges that we have ahead? Because in a sense, to a certain degree, we have no fear.
Hope. It is the only thing stronger than fear.
Right? Because we understand that we're stepping strong with this beautiful energy of goodness and truth that we're seeking, right? And that we're striving for. So overall, we're leading with a lot of confidence and peace. You know, there's a lot of peace in what we do. It's like they say, you know, libertarians are the warrior monk, right? Confidently leading, confidently moving with peace, you know? That yin yang, peace and movement. And so, what would you say to us?
Well, like I said, you've got to be aware of the umbrella that's been created over the top of this whole crypto space. So you really need to, whatever you're structuring, factor that in to everything that you're doing.
What do you mean?
Well, this social crediting umbrella, this digital ID, all the stuff they're doing. Like I said, you've got to factor in that the world is run by criminals. I mean, if you haven't factored that in to everything you're doing, that the people in charge of the internet space are going to try to control what you're doing, and they're going to create this social crediting umbrella, this whole carbon umbrella, carbon footprints, all these things. Like I said, they're even going to limit your ability to be able to log online. So, you know, what you're doing, if you can sort of, I mean, I know it's all in cyberspace. That's the problem, is that it's all in cyberspace. What are you going to do if you can't access the internet? That's what I mean. It doesn't matter if you've got $1 trillion in crypto. If you are biometrically banned because of some post you put on Facebook 10 years ago that they don't like, and you can't access, you can't get online, and it's all biometrics, and your biometrics is digitally tracked, you can't go into a supermarket and spend money because you're biometrically banned from doing so. This is what you've got to factor in. You've got to realize, you know, what this world is becoming, and you've got to, like I said, be prepared to be able to walk into the woods with a knife and a piece of rope and survive.
I'd love that, actually.
You've got to be able to do that. You've got to factor that in, because it's like a runaway train. What's happening is like a runaway train. I mean, what they've just done in the United States, blowing up that train and polluting like all of the entire east coast of the United States. So this is huge, what they're doing. They're going all out to exterminate as many people as possible and lock them into this smart grid. I mean, the crypto space is really good, but the point is you're carrying a smartphone around with you everywhere you go. It's a GPS tracking device.
I mean, you either have a smartphone or a stupid phone, but there are smartphones that you can have.
I know, but still, it's a GPS tracking device. It's something that's tracking you and tracing you everywhere you go. I mean, it's a kind of a double-edged sword. The crypto space is doing great things, but the technology itself is the problem. You know, the smart grid is the problem. The smartphone, the GPS tracking, the biometrics, all this stuff is the problem. So they're going to let you create all this stuff, and then one day you're just going to try to log on, and you're not going to be able to do it. Like I said, it's SIM card activation in Argentina is biometrics. You know, they're now giving Visa card is giving restaurants $10,000 per restaurant to go cashless. You know, so they're not accepting cash. Great, they're probably not accepting crypto too. I mean, what you're doing, getting people to embrace crypto and use crypto, that's a good thing if you can get more people to do that. But you've got to be aware that it's a double-edged sword. All this technology is a double-edged sword. So we've got to try to take control of the technology in some way. Don't give all of your everything to AI and expect AI to solve problems for you and help you, because it's not. AI has no intention of that. AI will end up controlling everything if we're not careful. And it will decide what humans do and where humans go. And we've kind of already crossed that Rubicon. If people don't put down the tech, I mean, I don't take a phone with me anywhere I go. I've never owned a credit card. I've never in the real world, I've never bought anything with a credit card. I've never had a credit card. I'm 65 years old. I've never owned a credit card. A lot of people don't believe me when I say that, but it's true. I mean, I've never gone into a shop anywhere in the world and made a transaction over a counter that I haven't paid with cash. Everything has always been cash. So those sorts of things I think are important. We've got to keep realness alive, keep real world interaction alive. That is the most important thing we can do. And whatever we do through that, I mean, that's going to make a difference. I think it's important that we do that.
One thing is that we can't just pretend like technology is not here. People need to like use it, unfortunately or fortunately, but I think you have to like know how to use it. And look, one thing, Max, that I think is important is privacy.
If you're not private by default at the protocol level, you're not private at all. When you're owns Monero, raise your hand. Where's Monero?
Because if they can't see you, if they can't gather information, then you can use technology safely. And that's why I think privacy coins are so important. Privacy networks, like Dero, the privacy Ethereum, right? That people are using now, building on Pirate Chain, Monero. You know, I think these networks are going to be like the next frontier that people are going to really embrace in crypto. Like embrace it with a lot of emphasis because of everything we've talked about here. That even if you're out in the open signaling to each other, like I said, you know, I want to show you this new technique of signaling to each other, whatever, it's still out in the open. We need systems of cooperation that are peaceful. And that's really only achieved in this new time period that we're moving into of AI and mass surveillance with privacy. So I really think that privacy will be the key to dealing with technology safely for the world. Privacy also to use alternatives to the internet privately, like ham radio, right? So you asked the question as to how would we send a Bitcoin Monero transaction without the internet? Well, we have the technology exists. No one's really like employed it really recently, in recent times, to send Bitcoin and Monero transactions, Pirate Chain transactions, Dero transactions via ham radio. Those techniques and technologies exist. And
again, though, the only reason we really need privacy is because the world's run by criminals. Perhaps we should deal with that. You know, hacking at the branches instead of the root. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I heard a conversation you and Jeff Berwick had once that even if you were like to get rid of all the criminals now that are the megalomaniacs that want power in this world, there's always going to be other megalomaniacs that are going to want to take their place. So it's like, it's almost like the only option that we really have is to go dark and have peaceful environments.
Go dark and prepare yourself for what's about to come and make sure that spark of human divinity comes out the other side, because it's going to get real ugly in the next couple of years. It's going to get a lot uglier than it's been. What we've just seen in the last 3 years is just a precursor to what's about to happen. You know, there's going to be a mass die-off within the next couple of years, and things are going to go really crazy, and they're going to make sure it goes crazy, and everyone's going to be screaming for government to save them. You got to take it as an opportunity to save yourself and to save those around you by being all you can possibly be, being the best you can possibly be. This is that time. That's why it's such an honor to be here. That's why this is such an important time in history, because this is the time that we make a difference and the real spark of human divinity is born. That's what this time is for.
Thank you for saying that, Max, because I think that is probably the most powerful message that I think we all need to hear. We need to hear that we need to start thinking higher of who we are, higher of ourselves. Yeah. Everyone watching this, you should start thinking higher of yourself. If you're just watching this right now and engaging in this conversation, you should really think highly of yourself. Anything else that you would want to say to this audience?
No, that's about it, brother, I think. Like I said, be all that you can be. See this as the opportunity that it is presenting for humankind. I mean, we really reached a state of spiritual bankruptcy and apathy that something like this had to happen to shake us out of our slumber. And a lot of people are going to be cleansed along the way, but what's going to be left is going to be magnificent, and you can be part of that. So it's an opportunity, brother, and that's why it's such a great time to be alive. So don't lose hope, don't lose faith in yourself, and don't sell yourself short. You know, we can do it. We got this.
Your favorite cryptocurrencies?
I would say Monero, mostly. Monero. I use Monero and I use Bitcoin. Yeah.
Right on. All right, guys. Well, Max, thank you so much for having this time with us, this conversation with us. I definitely want to do it again. Maybe we can do through, you know, the interwebs, whatever. We can talk at a distance. But I really appreciate you being with us here and spending this time and sharing your wisdom with us. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Where can they follow you? Where can they learn more from you? Because I know you've been censored all over the internet. Where can they find you?
You can find me on thecrowhouse.com. You don't need to follow me. Follow yourself. Follow your heart. I just pop in and offer a little bit of advice and a bit of a perspective now and then. But you'll find me on thecrowhouse.com, or you'll find me the Crowhouse on BitChute or the Crowhouse on Odyssey. And thanks for the conversation, brother. We'll do it again.
Awesome. Thank you, Max. Peace, love, anarchy, guys. Have a good one. Take care. What up, Vigilantes? I am on my way to go speak to the business association of this whole area of Acapulco called Bonefield, where we have Anarchapulco. We're going to set them up with crypto. So all these people, all these businesses are going to become merchants, crypto merchants. So very excited about that. I'm actually walking there right now. So at the end of Anarchapulco, I felt compelled to give a workshop. And it was really two workshops in one. One, it was on the topic of AI and how to respond to it as the crypto community. And we gifted you guys the tools, so open source, so you can learn more about how to respond to AI using proof of work. And the second topic of conversation is how can we onboard up hundreds of millions of users overnight into the crypto space? And that has already been solved. So go to this description. This information needs to get out. In my opinion, is probably the two most pressing issues of our time that are really, come down to just one issue. We need to reach hyper-cryptodization before AI takes over. And we have the tools. So we really want you guys to click in the description and watch this workshop. I did it at the end of Anarchapulco. After everything was done, I just felt compelled. I felt called to do it. In my opinion, it's the most badass workshop that I've ever given, because it has to do with what is, in my opinion, the two biggest issues in our time. AI and fixing the crypto onboarding problem. Both wrapped in one. You guys gotta watch it. I can't stress enough how important this workshop is. We're giving it away for free. So just sign up below, watch the workshop. This actually was a 3.5-hour workshop, and we broke it down to, there goes a puppy. And it broke down to after editing, it was like an hour and 30 minutes. So we trimmed the fat for you, and I hope you enjoy it. Peace, love, anarchy. Bye.